Are you looking for affordable office space in Marion? The professional building located at 685 Delaware Avenue is the place for you. For more information, call 740-383-6803. Office space is now available. Again, telephone number 740-383-6803. This is Scott Spears, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Scott Spears Now. Today, a profile of Mr. Free Money himself, Matthew Lesko, the man who helped usher in the infomercial, a man who's published over 20 books. We'll learn why he wears the question mark outfit, where all that energy comes from, and what he is here to do in the future. We'll also learn about a free book he has available for Mother's Day, and also take some of your questions that you submitted via Facebook, Scott Spears Now, on college. How do you get rid of those college loans? How do you pick the best college? How do you get money for college? It's all Matthew Lesko, Mr. Question Mark, Mr. Free Money, coming up now on Scott Spears Now. This is Scott Spears, and today we're going to take a look at the life and times of a pioneer in the world of infomercials, a man who's written over 20 books, and by the way, has a free ebook available for Mother's Day. 50 the best government grants for busy moms, available at www.lesko.com/mom. He's Mr. Free Money himself, Matthew Lesko. Matt, how are you?
Wow, I can go home now. You already gave the website.
I tell you, Matt, do you like the ebooks? Do you have a Kindle and all those fun machines?
Oh, yeah. Actually, personally, I use a lot of Kindle. I exercise every day. And you know, I'm about 70 in about another month, you know. And I think and I want to keep working for 25 more years. I don't see any sense of stopping. I mean, retirement sounds, you know, stupid to me. It means you have the wrong job if you want to retire. You know, we all should contribute until we die, yeah. So I run, jog, whatever, you know, get out for an hour or two, about 4 or 5 miles a day to try to stay in shape. And with a Kindle, I listen to books, man. I go through a book every week or two. But the other thing I'm doing for aging, I start to. Do you want to ask a question first? Or okay?
Go right ahead. You're doing fine. I'll tell you what. Our viewers right now out there are saying we think of Matthew Lesko as kind of like a kid, 70 years old. We can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, people come up to me, you know, they say, "Wow, I grew up watching you on TV." You know, I feel, I don't know how old you are, but you know, it's like Cankman Kangaroo or something.
It is hard to believe, Matt. How have you stayed in such great shape? Almost 70.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fat kid, and to keep my weight off when I was in my early 20s, when I got out of the Navy, I just started running every day. That was the only thing that would help. And if I ran 4 or 5 miles a day, that cured the appetite more than anything else I ever found. And I didn't think I'd be running this long. I thought in my 50s I have to stop. And it's between aches and pains. And I'm coming back now. I'm still doing 5 or 6 miles. Sometimes I have to walk maybe 2 or 3 miles. The body can't handle it. But here's what I worry more about aging is the brain. Okay, so the body, you know, exercise, you know, helps with that. But Alzheimer's worries me more, you know, that if the brain doesn't. So I found something what I call my Alzheimer's prevention program.
Oh, tell us about that.
Okay, now this is, you know, how do you keep that brain in shape? So running, I'm forcing my body. So how do you force your brain, you know, to work and keep in shape? So I was thinking, what's the hardest thing I could try to learn? So I came up, Chinese. Yeah, Chinese sounds like the hardest goddamn thing to learn in life. And so about a year ago, I tried to find something, and I found a government grant to take Chinese.
You speak Chinese, Matt?
Well, you know, I know some words, ni hao, well, bougie dao, you know, which means I don't know. I'm learning. I mean, it's a very difficult language. I don't know a whole lot yet. But I found a government grant from the Chinese government. The Chinese government has a wonderful thing going on all over the country, actually all over the world, called the Confucius Institutes. And they give Chinese lessons for almost nothing. It's like our USIA. So like for $100 or so, they're at colleges and universities. If you go to university, you know, like I take mine at George Mason University and take a course there. It's like $2,000-3,000 in Chinese. Yeah, take it from the Confucius Institute. It's like $120 or something like that. Yeah. God, and it's wonderful. You get, you know, it's a small class, about 4 or 5 people. That's it. You get these wonderful people off the boat from China teaching young people who are trained to teach, you know, Chinese to speak English-speaking people, and it's just one of the neatest things I've done in my life. I really like it.
You know, Matt, a lot of questions I get have to do with people who are in this economy in bad shape. And some of them don't even have food. They're going to food banks. It's a rough time. Yeah. When it gets to things that are not necessarily training or learning a language, but just getting by to day, is there anything out there to help those people?
Yes, there's a lot. And that's, I mean, I think that's very important. People don't realize that. I mean, I grew up, I mean, depending on how old you are and things like that, you know, what kind of preconceived notions you have of the world. I used to think you have to be homeless or living in the gutter to get financial assistance. No, I mean, now the government considers you poor at making $40,000 or $50,000. The so-called programs aimed at the poor, that's what they are. Yeah. That's where the income level is. And so what we used to call food stamps and things like that, I mean, now most people working at Walmart full-time are eligible for up to $600 a month in paying for groceries. You know, and there's about, 10, 12 million people who don't realize that are eligible right now, could get that kind of money, and they don't know that. And that's what frustrates me, is the health care. There are 20, again, stop me, because you're asking something I've been spending, 30, 40 years of my life on, so it's easy to get riled up. But I mean, like health care. Now, there's a lot of people, there are 50 million people without health care. 25% of those people are eligible for an existing program. That's that. I mean, you can get, like, I hear these stories that you can't pay for your prescription drugs, and this elder citizen or even a young person, gave up food or rent or something to pay for prescription. They don't have to do that. There's programs for that. You can be making up to $40,000 a year in this country and get your prescription drugs for free, but you got to know about the program. See, the problem I see is that we live off advertising. So we only know the stuff that people advertise.
So what do we do, Matt? How do we find those programs?
You have to arm yourself. You have to start learning the system. I mean, nobody's going to teach it to you or tell you about these programs because they don't get paid. In other words, if you're a government agency and you have money like $30,000 a family to fix up your house. Okay, and so let's say you have $300 million to give out. It's hard to go back to Congress and say, hey, I need another $10 million to advertise on giving that stuff away. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, so that's why, so you have to do the work. And so what's your options? You go to a website, or you go online and Google, grants for roofs or something like that. And you're going to get every contractor, everybody who has something to sell you on those first 10, 20 pages because they know you have a problem and they're going to spend as much money as they can to try to get your attention, to get your money to solve the problem. When the person giving away for free for you to solve that problem won't be there because they're not going to spend any money because they're not getting any money from you. So that's what I see. And how do we teach? There are some shortcuts, that I've learned. There's two basic things you should always know. You have any kind of problem. You're trying to get money for school. You're trying to get, you have trouble with your mortgage. You have trouble, paying some bill or whatever it is, and people are harassing you or something like that. Okay, if you have any problem, really, the one number you could call is 211. This is a cool number. It's in about 90-some% of the country where you call up and they will have usually a database of nonprofits and government offices that solve certain problems. So like the top thing we talked about the other day about training money, you could call there and do that. You know, you're having trouble paying your mortgage, you call there, you know, and they'll show you nonprofit organizations that get grants from the government to help you with that mortgage. But see, I think most people know they'll either go on the web or they'll see an advertisement on television. You know, you have a credit problem, call us, and well, you know, whatever they promise to do. They have to get money from you to pay that advertising. No matter what they promise, it's no cost to you. And there's people out there that do that free, you know, but they don't advertise, so you don't know about it. That's what I see, and that's what keeps me going for 25 more years, is trying to educate society about what is about. And see, what even bothers me more is people with money, very expensive, you know, rich people, use it first. They know. They know. Because they used to hire me, and I used to charge them thousands of dollars to get this for free, you know, for them to solve, you know, their problems, you know. So let's say your little business there, you know, you want to start broadcasting overseas, and you're looking for a partner overseas. Okay, I mean, you go online or whatever and try to find, and some consultant will get you in charge of thousands of dollars to find the right person with you. You could call the U.S. Department of Commerce for $350. They'll dispatch somebody from the embassy to go find 3 people that are willing to represent you in that country and check out their backgrounds and everything, and sprinkle holy water on them for you. $350, man.
Well,
I mean, just go ahead, man.
Well, it's amazing what's out there. It's shocking sometimes.
It is, and whether it's right or wrong is another issue. I mean, I can show you half the stuff that I don't think we need, and what the hell we're doing it for, and that's why people will beat up on me that I'm encouraging welfare. And I was like, you can say whatever you want. I just kept trying to show people reality. This stuff is here. If it's bad, then get rid of it. If you need it to do something, you know, this is democracy where everybody has the right to use it, because that's what a democracy is all about. Not for just Donald Trump to use these programs to be in real estate, which he has. His first program, actually, his first $1 million was with a property in Ohio, on a government property. He made $1 million on, you know, and he still uses them and professes about using them and shows people, tries to train people how to use them. So that's why they are there for everybody, you know. And how do we get the average person on the street not only to use a program, but to do something important with their life? See, I think every life is very important. The most important thing you have is what you're doing with your time on this earth. Nothing is more important. That's why, to me, you could steal my car, you could do, I don't know, that's just junk, you know. You steal my time, man. Yeah, and make me do something. Man, that's more precious than anything. And,
what about the stigma, Matt? Most people feel there's a stigma to taking this money to welfare, to food stamps. Is there a stigma in your opinion?
Well, I can't. To me, that's like religion. You feel that way. I mean, I don't argue with that. And if you feel that way, you don't want to do it, then fine, more power to you and whatever. But then maybe certain things that you may want to qualify that a little more. In other words, okay, are all government programs bad? In other words, just think if there was a program, you know, if you're religious and that's a stigma or whatever, I mean, if you could take one fish and turn it into 1,000,000, you know, like with a business loan or grant to start a business so you could feed many people, you know, is that the same as getting welfare? I don't know, you know. And so that's why, if that is your philosophy, then I think you have to evaluate all programs differently. They can't all be thrown in. They're not all welfare, I would think. I mean, if somebody gives you money to put in energy-saving windows because you're going to save more money in the environment and all this kind of stuff for a bigger good, I mean, I don't know. That sort of sounds interesting. It doesn't tell me, Wilford.
Yeah, it is interesting. And you know, Matt, one thing, it's very interesting. This is where we start this interview, because I was checking out your Wikipedia page, and one of the things on there, it says, critics claim that your ads are misleading. A 2004 report by the New York State Consumer Protection Board claimed that most grants in your books are public assistance programs that most people do not qualify for. Now, under $40,000 a year, that seems like most people would qualify for that.
Well, I mean, that was a very interesting story, and I learned a whole lot from that episode when they came out with that. And that's almost a story in itself, and I grew so much from that. That's the first time really somebody really tried to beat me up. And you know, they were after something. You know, people's motives are mixed, and you never know. But it was, I helped these people do reports. See, there are people in my business, you know, it's more or less like the grant business. I never saw myself in that. That were calling people at dinner time and promising you a grant and getting $300 from you and everything. So the consumer protection people in New York call me up, and they're trying to go after these people and to help them. And I was giving them everything to help them. I mean, I was giving them private information about my business, how everything works, everything to help them get bad guys. So they finally come out the report, and if you get the report read, they weren't after me at all, but they said I was encouraging all these other people, and here's what's wrong with me. So they beat me up. And I have zero consumer complaint. Well, unsatisfied. Everybody gets complaints, but I have a better record than Bill Gates, at the Better Business Bureau. So I never have any unsatisfied complaints. So they weren't after me at all, but they used me. Because if they came out with a headline that said "Lesko lies," and this is when I was on TV all over. I mean, I remember waking up one morning, Googling my name, and I see 150 citations with the headline "Lesko lies," and that hurt, to tell you the truth. But it was great. The things that you only learn from bad stuff in life. Well, good stuff does not teach you anything, in my mind. You can never grow by having just success. So without bad things happening to you, to see how good you really are, to be able to grow, and it's sort of like playing. Would you want to play basketball with a 5-year-old? You're not going to learn anything. Doing things boring, and that's what continued success is like. And so don't realize, half the families are making less than $50,000 in this country. But more importantly, see, they're talking about grants. And only 80% of the free money that the government gives out is called grants. So that's what they did, and I found out the report, they called the Office of Management and Budget was the accountants for the U.S. government. And they said, how many grants are given out? And so they gave them a figure. It was like $300 billion at the time or whatever. And they said, see, and they said most of that goes to state and local government. So Lesko's lying. Well, I guess they're right in a way, because they're only talking about grants, and that's why I only talk about free money. See, because only 20% of the free money that the government gives out is called grants. So if you go to a government agency and ask for grants, you're missing 80% of the free money that's available. See, and they didn't know the system well enough. They're just trying to do a quick study and get a headline and come out with some report, So it's, and that's why even now, or even shortly after that, I'd go on TV and, they try to beat me up, based on that. And that's fine. If you believe that it's okay with me. This is reality. If you say something's wrong in my book, then okay, I'll change it. That's why they don't say any. And I think maybe the other argument they do have, maybe that I'd always admit to, is hyperbole. And I'm certainly guilty of that. If I have 60 seconds on a commercial to tell you something, or to try to educate or to get you to investigate something, I can't tell you all the ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. So what I try to do is get your attention. I'm not lying about anything. I just don't tell you all the ifs, ands, or buts because I don't have time. And that's why I refund 100%. Always have. And so if you feel I've misled you or whatever, I just don't argue with it. See, they're the people who get in trouble with bureaucracies or whatever, or the people. You could lie on television. You know, you can say anything you want. A lawyer will tell you otherwise, but I don't think that's true. Because the government, the only people who get you for lying on television is like the FTC or some regulatory body. A regulatory body will only come after you if they get complaints. If no one's complaining about you, they're not going to come after you. So you start messing with somebody's money, you know, they feel you lied and you got their money and you didn't promise. Then they complain, and that's when you get investigated. So that's why I've never been investigated. I help the FTC get bad guys. I help these people get bad guys too. And so they try to use my name, you know, to promote themselves. But I certainly talk in hyperboles on a 1-minute commercial on TV, or nobody would pay attention. But I don't fool with anybody's money, and that's the key, I think, in life.
It's very interesting to know that, because I think a lot of people want to pin stuff on people that a lot of times they don't have the chance to explain.
Yeah, well, you don't, and you can't, and that's why if people, you can't, I mean, I learned very early in life, too, that it's very, well, you know this, you're in media, it's very difficult to get people's attention. I was a professor of computer science at a college in Washington, D.C. here 30-some years ago, whatever, and most of the people were going to teaching, I mean, working full-time and coming to get a degree in computer science. And my theory was I had to first keep them awake to educate them at all, you know. So communication or educating is the number one thing in my mind, is to keep people awake, or else you can't get anything across, you know. And if you know, with that, I certainly go overboard, and it pisses some people off, you know, my antics or or whatever. But if you try to please everybody, you're pleasing nobody, and you don't, you know, you can't create anything unique or whatever. I mean, I think life is trying to find out what you are good at, so you could do that better than anybody else. And I'm good at making a fool out of myself. Really what it boils down to. And I do it better. My parents did not even admit I was their kid for the first 10 years on TV. No. Because I act like a complete nincompoop. Yeah.
Is that true? Your parents didn't admit?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, because they wanted me to be some sophisticated person on the Today Show, to be hoity-toity or whatever like that. And I go, hey, did you know you get this for
me? So what is that character, Matt? Where does that come from? Is that a character?
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's part of me. It's just that I can't do that. We're trying to have a conversation. If you said I had 5 minutes alone on the air and nobody else to have feedback with, then that's just output, not input. See, you and I with a conversation like this is, you know, I got to listen.
well, tell me what your childhood was like.
Childhood was like short and fat. I'm 6 foot, and people see me and it's Dachau, hey. But to me, inside, that's what I still feel. I guess I always had some kind of personality. Was terrible at school, didn't like school. Flunked English in college. That's why, you know, when my first book made the New York Times bestseller list, I called that English teacher who flunked me. That was a sweet day in my life.
Now, I heard, Matt, that you were a navigator in the U.S. Navy in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Most people, I don't think, would associate that.
Well, that was back in the 70s. There was a draft. I got out of school, couldn't get into grad school. I barely graduated. I had like a 2.000 something. Whatever it was to graduate, that's what I got. And so I tried to get a law school or some graduate school to avoid the draft. You know, and grades were terrible. My SATs or whatever, the graduate records were terrible. And so I joined the Navy so I didn't have to camp in the woods. I'm not like a camper guy, you know. But I'll tell you, Navy was, I never had more responsibility for the rest of my life, you know. I went to OCS. They taught me to be a ship driver, went out in the South China Seas in the Vietnam War, and driving around billion-dollar ships. Then I was a diplomatic courier in Northern Europe and everything. And now I'm a two-bit huckster, you know? So as a kid, 23 years old, you know, I'd be flying commercial airlines with a 45 on my hip, you know? That was before, you know, Homeland Security and everything. And you know, and have a billion-dollar ship to drive around. It's amazing what the government does for young people, and I see that one of my boys who was very active and he volunteered for the Obama campaign in the first one, and actually he went to school at Worcester in Ohio there.
Really?
And he, you know, same thing. He quit his job, really got excited about Obama, went and volunteered early in the campaign. In 2 months, man, you know, they put him on the payroll. They have opened up offices all over the country. You know, here, open this office, hire 100 people, you know, all this kind of stuff. Hey, kid, 22 years old. I mean, that's right. These kind of positions and responsibility are just incredible for young people. Yeah. Whether it's military, you know, campaigns and things like that. At that age, you're delivering coffee in most businesses or organizations.
It's kind of fascinating to learn this, Matt. Now, where did the idea for this free money come from? Where did that come from?
Yeah. Okay, had businesses, got an MBA, came back on the GI Bill, got an MBA, and really I was a terrible student by the time I went to graduate school, all A's, you know. When you're ready, you're ready, you know. And I was starting businesses. I had a software company that failed and another information kind of business. Then I started a business getting information from fat cats in Washington. Yeah, and it grew from me, a phone and a desk, and one person, after 2 failing businesses, to about 30, 40 people on K Street in Washington, D.C., where our clients were Fortune 500 companies. And they would pay anything to get this information. And what shocked me is that they would call me up and say, like Procter & Gamble there in Ohio, they were a client of mine. And they would call me and say, hey, man, we're thinking about starting a chain of pasta stores, you know? Can you get some marketing information and maybe see if they're saying what kind of money that might be available to start pasta stores? So I'd start digging. You know, I'm really basically a researcher. Yeah. And I dig around. Everywhere I dig, I'd wind up in the government. Holy gosh. And I'd find, like, the government has a pasta expert. You know, after half a dozen phone calls, this is before the web, I'd find some bureaucrat sitting down in the Department of Commerce who is, you know, like a GS-15. That means making like $90,000 to $100,000 a year now. You know, been in business, been there for about 15, 20 years, and all he does is study pasta. He studies the market for pasta. So I'd find that guy, and he'd be a gold mine, man. He'd give me market studies that show me what's hot, what's not hot in the pasta business. You know, the government just spent $100,000 on, and I'd take all this stuff. He'd show me what money programs are available to start by, and I'd take all this stuff. He'd give me, I literally take his name off, put my name on, thank them for it, you know, in the introduction, and sell it to Procter & Gamble for tens of thousands of dollars. And they were happy to pay because they were making millions off of it. Yeah. And that's when I said, geez, you know, a schmuck like me from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania could call up and get this kind of stuff that's so valuable. Why isn't everybody doing this? You know, why didn't I know about this in Wilkes-Barre? Yeah. Or why doesn't everybody in Ohio know that they have access to this kind of stuff? Yeah. And that's why I see it's not only the rich. The rich, they don't like to get their hands dirty, so they'll hire somebody. But anybody who wants to get a little dirty, you know, find it. What the hell? You know, this is what's great about our democracy. You know, it's not China. It's not a ruling class. Yeah.
Well, you know, Matt, and it has worked well for you for a long time. Yeah. The interesting thing, though, is I saw some of your early appearances, and it wasn't quite what we see today. Where did the suits come from?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that you wear these in everyday life.
Oh, absolutely. This is nothing different. I'm not dressed for you. I'm dressed for today. And I'm going to go work on my radio show at Starbucks right after this and just sit there and work. It all starts with failure. I always wanted a business. I don't know how your life is or where you've been, but you have a successful show now. I don't know if it just happened overnight for you, but I wanted to be my own boss, kind of thing. And my businesses were always failing. And it seemed after the 2 failures, they were great because then that used to stop me more than anything. The fear of failing and what people would say when they see me because, hey, there goes that failure. Then when I failed 2 times, I found out nobody really cares if you fail. Everybody's so involved in their own life, they don't care if you fail. So I realized nobody really cared. So the 3rd business, I said, this time I'm going to have fun because I didn't have fun the last 2 businesses. I was trying to do them like they taught me in MBA school, and all this kind of stuff and punching all the right tickets and everything like that. And I didn't have fun, so I said, I'm just going to start having fun. And when I started having fun, that's when it was different. And that's when the magic started happening. So then, even when you get a little success, then people try to keep telling you what to do in life. People, and we all look for help because we all struggle. Nobody really knows the answer, so we're all seeking an answer, no matter what age, no matter what. And if you're not, you're really stupid. And so we're all looking for that kind of help. So you have to fight people going to change you. And what really works is what you are inside, I believe, whatever it is. So to me, the suit is me finally, 10 years ago or so, I guess sometime in my 50s, maybe it's longer than that, I always try to bring up what's inside of me. What is different about me? How do you bring that out and share? Because I feel that's your best gift to society, is whatever is special about you is the most important thing that you have to give to the rest of us. So it's really foolish to try to be like somebody else because they're doing that better than you. And we don't need another one of those. So what society will appreciate more is what is unique and special. Not everybody, and you get criticized, and you got to get through that. And that's what this is. To me, this is me inside. And what's great about the suit, to me, I wish I did it 30 years ago because I was there but didn't have the courage. And it's a filter now. I belong to some very snobby clubs and everything. People don't talk to me because they don't know what the hell to say. The guy in the question mark says, it throws them for a loop and they can't possibly imagine what the hell they're talking about. But the people that run up and talk to me and think that's cool, man, I'm going to love them, man, because I know we have something, we're going to like each other. You think I'm an idiot? We're saving each other a lot of time.
Well, it's interesting, Matt, with your parents who wouldn't even claim that they were your parents for 10 years. This suit, this attitude, this projection, and getting kind of snubbed at certain places, how do you get over that? How do you go beyond it?
It's an inner strength of some time. That's why I think for you to grow in this society, depending on the kind of parent you have, that's why I'm trying to be a parent. That's different. And I think maybe as we grow, parenting, I think, everybody thinks is trying to make people safe. You want your kids to be safe. So you want them to get, become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. And so if they don't do something safe, you worry. So you're trying to eliminate that worry and have them safe. And when in fact, when I didn't have kids till I was 40. So I saw that, boy, if I'm trying to keep that kid safe, I remember when he started to walk. He fell on his ass 100 times, right? That's the only way you're going to learn to walk. And that's why I think anything new you want to do is like learning to walk. You're going to fall on your butt 100 times, but that's the only way you learn. You have to. So you have to go out and fail. So loved ones, and that's in my 40s or so, I finally realized what love really is. And at least for me. I'm sure everybody has different expressions. But love to me is... I think we all struggle in life, whether it's you and me or anybody we meet on the street. None of us know the answers. We're all struggling, we're all scared, and we all don't know what we're doing. And that's what I think the question marks are to be. But, so a loved one To me, unless you're asked, is your mission, if you love someone, is to help them do whatever they want to do. They're struggling so hard trying to find out what to do in life. And I think none of us have the right to tell somebody else how to live their life, even if it's a loved one. So, I mean, that's why your loved one should be someone who helps you do something you want to do. Not to criticize and find what's wrong with it and whatever. I mean, I love you. You tell me what you want to do, and yeah, I'm behind you. I'll help you. I didn't grow up like that. We all sit around and told each other why what you're doing is wrong, and it is. So what if it's wrong? If that, you have to struggle through bad. You have to struggle through and nobody knows what the hell is right anyway. So how do you help somebody with a vision and before? It's like telling Picasso what the end of his painting should look like. I'm sure Picasso didn't know the end. He sits there, has an idea, and he throws some paint on the wall. Hey, and that changes the idea. Hey, now it's this. And it turns out to be something completely different. That's what we all are. We're artists like that with our life. We don't know what the hell it's going to turn out to be. We're all struggling with it. So you got to go out and put something on that canvas and see where it takes you next. But trying to figure out what the canvas is going to look like at the end before you start is insane to me.
That's very well said, and I think begs another question, Matt. With the suit and the persona and even the criticism that you've had over the last 15 years or so, in 2013, what is the function, what is the goal of Matthew Lesko?
Oh, it's all education. Yeah, I think I mentioned this before. That's it. But I want to be self-sustaining. I believe in capitalism. I don't want to give my stuff away. I want to find out a way to use capitalism to finance it, because otherwise then I have to go begging as a nonprofit. I don't like that. So I want to have something valuable enough that people will pay for if I'm smart enough to figure out how to package it and what, where, and all that kind of stuff, and I think I am. But it's just going to take a little more time because the world is changing. And my mission until I die, and I hope I have 25 more years to do this, is to educate people about the resources that are available for them to do what they want to do in life. I mean, I feel very selfish and fortunate because, man, every day I haven't worked in 40 years. I just can't wait to get up and do stuff. And I used to think work was something else than that. And no, we're here to give. We're here to serve. We're here to help other people, and we'll help people the most if we're doing something that is really we believe in and think is needed and is a little bit above us, and and that's the only way to get the most out of your life, and the rest of us to get value out of your life too. If you're given the most, and that's why the happiest days is when you work your butt off. So see, I believe there's tools in society now that we live in anyway to help you do that.
Well, Matt, a lot of this interview has to do with money, and certainly a lot of your career has had to do with money. So I think a question, you know all the loopholes, you know the tricks, you know the tricks of the trade, I guess is what I should say. Are you a wealthy man?
Well, I don't worry about eating. I always worry about money. I'm surprised I have more money than I ever thought I would, But to me, it's not the money, and I won't have to worry about money, but it's what I'm doing is of value. I don't want to be doing stuff that nobody thinks it's valuable, and they won't pay for it. I want to be smart enough to be able to sustain. I'm not going to leave money to anybody. I mean, I now give my Social Security check to a community college. Oh. So I started a scholarship fund called I Don't Need My Government Money Scholarship Fund. See, because there's so many people that are getting government money and don't need it, and they're not going to give back to the government. And for $1,000, a kid could go to college. I think the education value of the community college is the best thing we have in this country, And so we have people now 65 or more getting another $2,500 a month from Social Security. They don't need it. And where I live, man, these millionaire lawyers are driving downtown and spending $1,000 on 3 lunches.
Well, Matt, that's very interesting, because both of the questions that I have that I picked from the audience have to do with college, and I want to throw them at you here.
Okay.
One person says has terrible trouble paying off his student loans.
Yes.
How can you wipe them out or at least get the interest reduced?
Yes, there are new programs now for that. At the Department of Education, what to do is call up your congressman's office. Okay, so wherever you are, they know the system, they know who to contact or whatever. You want to search my database too, but I mean, that's an easy. They'll know exactly who to contact, and they're good programs. You have trouble paying that, don't hide, because that just get worse, and they will help you with that.
The other question is, I have kids who are going to go to college. What's the best way to get scholarships, grants? How do we get money for college?
Well, anybody in college. I mean, to me, the worst thing anybody could do is go to a for-profit university, unless you have a lot of money and you don't care. You know, the Phoenixes and things like that. The value for money is terrible. You're going to pay 40 grand or whatever and get a product where they spend 2,500 bucks. If you go to even a nonprofit university, they're spending $15,000 to $20,000 on the product versus $2,000 that a for-profit university paid. So that's the number one rule. Number two rule is anything, the smartest thing to do in this country is do 2 years in a junior college. And besides the price, I mean, you're going to spend, $1,500 a semester versus $15,000 a semester. I mean, it's just stupid not to. Now, also, if you're struggling or whatever to get in, see, if you get a 3.0, at least in Maryland, at the junior college, they have to let you in at the University of Maryland. Otherwise, you could be a University of Maryland resident and not get in. But they have to let you if you have a 3.0 after 2 years of junior college. So no matter what you are, you have a better chance of getting into a good university by getting a good grades there and then transferring. Scholarships, remember every state, this is what I see people miss the most, is your state office of higher education has scholarship money. Call up your state elected official. That means you have a state like representative and a state senator, and find out the office for the scholarships in your state, because that's where it is. Maybe you want to be a teacher in the state, maybe they have it just because you live in some zip code and things like that. Most stuff you'll find on the web for scholarships is people collecting your name. You see all these sites, hey, you want to get money to go to college and all this kind of stuff. Somebody's collecting your name, and then a for-profit university is going to call you and going to call you and going to call you and call you because they're making so much money from this. If they get you to sign up and you take a government loan and then you're screwed with the money and they get the money up front. 90% of the money that these for-profit universities take in is from government money. The government is supporting all this stuff, So that's why be very, very careful. And the other trick, before you sign up for a university, contact their scholarship people before you apply even, because that's where the biggest money is at that university. Because they have money, but people don't do that until they're accepted and get in. That's stupid. No, before you even apply, you want to know what they have, because they're going to have the biggest pot, right there. And the other thing I think is to shoot low. Everybody wants to go to Harvard and Yale and things like that. First of all, that's silly. Most people aren't going to get in. Whatever. Why? And then you have all the rest. So if you're going into a school that's ranked, 73 versus one that's ranked, 92, nobody knows the goddamn difference, But the one ranked 92 wants you more than the one ranked 73. So they have money for the people they want. See? So you're going to pay, see, the sticker price is just a sticker price. Most people don't pay the sticker price. So that's right. You have negotiating. So if you're an average student, you want to go lower. You're a brilliant student, go lower. You will get a lot more money from the school so they make sure they attend, because they want student body to have certain qualities. So if they have if you have a higher rating than a normal student there, they're going to offer you more money to try to attract you to come there.
Very good advice. Matt, at the end of your life, when that comes in 35 years from now, 40 years,
25.
how do you want to be remembered?
I really don't care anymore. I used to. I've done more than I ever thought I would. I'm growing books for Pennsylvania, I never thought I'd be doing this much in my life. Now it's what I'm doing every day that happens. After, that's right, assets and everything. I tell my kids, man, now the community college is getting all my money. I gave you everything. You got everything you need is success. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. It's just every day. I want to enjoy today. I don't want to enjoy when I'm dead. I don't know what the hell happens when I die.
There you go. And I do want to let people know again that the free ebook for Mother's Day is available. 50 the best government grants for busy moms at www.lesko.com/mom. That's Lesko. Before we go, Matt, I'm going to give you a minute here. Give your best pitch for the ebook.
Well, but even not for you. You all have a mom. Everybody has a mom. Download that ebook, get it in a second or two, and save it for Mom and Mother's Day. You can print it out, wrap it up. You can send us an email on Mother's Day or whatever. These are great programs. I know they're real. None of this is bull or fairy tales or anything. These are real stuff for mom to start a business. Maybe mom wants to go back to school. Maybe mom wants a new, kitchen or whatever, remodeled and things like that.
Matt, this has been a lot of fun. You have to promise to come back. I enjoy it.
You bet.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm alive.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode with Matthew Lesko, Mr. Free Money. Very interesting to learn that his parents didn't recognize him or acknowledge him for the first 10 years of what would be his big success. We're going to have Matthew on from time to time because I find him to be a very interesting personality. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope we get together again soon. But until then, this is Scott Spears, headed for the dugout.